Flores. We have the first big trade of the hot stove season. It involves the Texas Rangers and the New York Mets. Jeff Passan, the first to report the details of the deal. Marcus Semien is going from the Rangers to the Mets. Brendan Nimmo is going from the Mets to the Rangers. Will Salmon covers the New York Mets for The Athletic. He had some further context on this deal. Nimmo, who had a full no trade clause, reportedly, and he definitely did waive his no trade clause to facilitate this deal. And then even more context from our John Heyman. He sent out this tweet saying that the Mets are sending $5 million to the Rangers to slightly offset the dollar amount. Nimmo has 5 years left on a deal that he signed with the Mets before the 2023 season. There's about $101 million left on this deal. And John Heyman, good enough to join us now. John, your reaction to this trade?
Well, I'm sure Mets fans are disappointed. They love Brandon Nimmo. He's beloved throughout the organization, but there probably is no room for emotion after the season in which the Mets had, winning 83 games, failing to beat out the small market Cincinnati Reds for that final playoff spot. The Mets felt they needed to improve their defense and get more right-handed, and they did both those things with this trade. Semien, obviously right-handed and an outstanding defender, won his second Gold Glove last year at second base for Texas. You would think now that Jeff McNeil, certainly on the trading block, will go. Brandon Nimmo obviously upgrades the offense for Texas. His OPS was 100 points higher than Semien last year. He is also 3 years younger than Semien. So Texas needed offense, Mets needed defense, and thus this trade was made.
Semien, 200, he hit 230, 15 homers, played in just 127 games. John, you mentioned the versatility, or you mentioned his defensive ability, but what does this do for the rest of the roster as we take a look at his salary breakdown? He's got a lot of money left on a deal that he signed with the Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, the Mets are sending $5 million, so it slightly offsets the money. As you mentioned, Nimmo has $101 million and change left. Semien close to $80 million left. So, I mean, the money isn't a major factor for the Mets. They need to improve the team, right? They spent $340 million as it is. They need a better team. They need more defense. They need a more right-handed lineup. Certainly, they are trying to sign Pete Alonso back. That's almost a necessity now, as is re-signing Edwin Diaz. But this is a good first step for the Mets to become more right-handed. Now, you wonder, they probably do need another outfielder, right? Because they were empty in center field last year. Tyrone Taylor, outstanding defensively, but he is a backup. Right. So they'll need to add a center fielder as well at this point.
For the Rangers, they have talked about wanting to cut payroll a little bit. Now, while Nimmo is owed more money, at least when you compare the two contracts, the AAV isn't, it's slightly less. What about the Rangers? We saw with Adolis Garcia, Jonah Heim, they were non-tendered. Where do they go from here?
Yeah, I think they're happy to get the lower AAV. Nimmo making $20 million a year with 5 years to go. They need to improve that offense. Obviously, they changed hitting coaches last year. We're not satisfied with the offense. Several players certainly underperformed. We saw Semien missing games for the first time in many, many years. Seager, their best player, missing games as well. Certainly the young players did not play like they had hoped as well. So they really need to improve the offense. I think that's the main thing for Texas right now. They have a good ball club. They underachieved, as did the Mets. Maybe not quite to the Mets' degree of underachievement, but they underachieved as well. So I think both teams look to be contenders next year, and I expect that to be the case. But Texas certainly needs offense, and this is a start.
Lastly, John, where do these two teams go from here? What do you think is next for both?
Well, I think the Mets need to re-sign Diaz and Alonso. That's 1 and 1A. I don't know to put it on top there, but that's certainly the case. They need to improve their relief. They need to figure out, assuming Alonso's back, and that's a big assumption because there's interest from Boston, Baltimore, and many others. Certainly need another outfielder or two at this point. Looking at defense, could they bring back Harrison Bader? That is a possibility. Texas, generally, they need to improve the offense. Obviously, they didn't re-signed. They non-tendered Heim, and they non-tendered Adolis Garcia. So they're on the start to making some big changes right now in their offense. And Look, I think that Texas has the makings of an excellent team. They still have DeGrom. They still have Seager. They have a lot of very fine pieces there, but a little bit more work can be done, and I think they can be a contender as well.
Well, John, we appreciate you hopping on with us, especially last minute. Thank you for the time. Remember, keep it locked here on MLB Network for all the hot stove news and for specifically the latest on this deal. Semien going to the Rangers, Semien going to the Mets, Nimmo going to the Rangers. Tune in to Hot Stove tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on MLB Network.